From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Wednesday's edition of For the People. It's March the 22nd. It's 2017, and we have some breaking news in case you have not heard. A journalist outside of Parliament, he says that he heard a loud explosion, then shooting, and then a man lying shot outside the gates of Parliament. Gunshots outside. He said it was rather frightening. Kevin Sheffield, the journalist at the political website Politics Home, reported that a police officer had been injured, that he had seen an assailant carrying a knife and a gun, and there is multiple injuries. Westminster Bridge, if you've been to London, apparently barreled into a bunch of people, hurt a bunch of people, and what's not known right now is how many there might have been. There could be multiple. We don't know if it's just one knife-wielding insane idiot. London police are taking this quite serious, obviously. I mean, going into the gates of Parliament, they were able to penetrate the perimeter. The police acted pretty swiftly, came in, killed the assailant, but was able to injure a bunch of people with knives and also mowing it down, and they're treating this as a terror incident, and rightly so. Here's a little sounds from a little bit earlier. This happened about 10:30 or so our time, if you're kind of looking at a time, but London time was 2:41 according to the Daily Telegraph. They reported this scene that you're about to hear right now.
Parliament Square now by this stage cleared of both traffic and the thousands of tourists and others who would ordinarily be there. The underground station, coincidentally, as you look towards it, now also closed, not because we believe of any particular terror threat there, but simply as a matter of procedure.
Also, this incident, as the camera pans along Westminster Bridge, that is also the scene of part of this incident. We just heard Richard Tice, their eyewitness, describing how he saw a number of people, some 8 to 10 people lying on the ground along that bridge, Westminster Bridge, busy at any time with people taking photographs of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. He said he believed that perhaps a vehicle had driven along the pavement of that bridge. Some speculation that could be the vehicle that then continued on to Parliament and carried the person with the knife. You can see the emergency services, many of them on that bridge now attending to those people. Let's cross to our correspondent Robert Nisbet, who's on the scene.
So we are on Millbank at the moment, Colin and Jane, and we are being pushed back again. They are expanding the radius of this area, this antiseptic area, as they continue their investigation and try to get as many emergency vehicles into the area as possible. We can see as we walk alongside here, and we're walking parallel to the Thames, we can see Westminster Bridge and all of the double-decker buses that are along there, obviously stop still in between those double-decker buses. You can see the pulse of blue flashing lights as more emergency vehicles now race down Millbank and through the Tate to get there as quickly as possible. Just a quick recap of how we heard about it, and to give you a little spot of geography here. Millbank is this connective road that links the offices to the Houses of Parliament here. Most of the journalists are housed along here, and we were alerted to the fact that something was happening by a single tweet from one journalist. Everybody came running out, as you can imagine, into a scene of chaos, of people running in the opposite direction as police were trying to force people, expel them as quickly as possible out of the area, including dozens of workers who were working on the road around Parliament Square. Then, as they were starting to pull the plastic tape across to keep the area safe, we started hearing the blades of a helicopter, and we saw a red air ambulance land in Parliament Square just as the first information was coming out of what had occurred on Westminster Bridge. And we seem to be getting two lots of information from people who were on the bridge, where it appears that car was mounting the pavement and trying to mow people down, and then also from journalists who were inside Parliament at the time, who saw the attack, as we understand it, on a policeman by the knifeman, who was then shot dead. Now you see the chaotic aftermath of an event such as this, with tourists just wandering around here looking fairly bemused, as you can see, as police try to seal off the area, and the press now being pushed right back to Vauxhall Bridge, trying to keep this area as clear as possible, presumably to allow those emergency vehicles and police crews to get in there as quickly and as safely as possible. I'll throw it back to you now. I don't have communications with the studio.
All right, back to For the People. Keith Allen here in Tampa, Florida, where we do our broadcast daily. London, a mess. And the level of sophistication, not very impressive. However, all the chaos, all the noise, all the stuff you just heard, apparently just one person that they know of, at least right now, and maybe it was just one person, but one person over a bridge mowing down a bunch of people, 10 injured, reportedly couldn't go up right now, and one officer was stabbed near Parliament, bashed through the gate at Parliament, and freaked out the city, obviously, and it's on lockdown. They're trying to figure out who this guy was, radical ties. They're treating it as terror, an act of terror, and is in fact, visibly, this was an act of terror, but there was no guns. There was no bombs. This person had a knife and had a vehicle. Anybody could do this. Now, terrorism is a reality, and it's always been a reality, I guess, in civilization. As long as you can remember, there was always people that wanted to do harm and have various reasons for why they would like to do this, to make statements. But reportedly, there is 10,000 on a watch list in London alone that can't all be monitored at any time, but hold these type of views, extremist views. And we have many people that live here in the United States that have views that are extreme and would do something like this. It's scary to see it. And, these are our allies. These, London, come on, how close can you get? We're tied at the hip here. It is a mess, folks. And it is a reminder, I think, to each and every one of us, no matter where you stand politically speaking, we live in dangerous times. And it's easy when somebody gets radicalized to do these things. And I would not be surprised for a link to terror, that they're going to search the phone. They're going to find out where this guy lived, where he came from, and what his attachments were, and to see who knew him and what strange, odd behavior there might have been. But they'll find out who he is, where he came from, and all that good stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised a bit if it wasn't radical Islam. It's on the rise, and we see it all over the world, but close to home here, across the pond, if you will. We're going to be monitoring the situation. A little sound right now. We do have other stories we're going to be covering. We're going to be talking about Trump and his speech, talking about Supreme Court nominees and judges in general. Nancy Pelosi weighing in with CNN on Democrats and how she's going to handle that as far as leadership goes, and who is the leader of the Democratic Party now. Very interesting answers there. And also the Maryland high school rape. We got to cover that, a very important story. We go to London now with Sky News.
That we have of a vehicle which has crashed outside Parliament. We don't know if this is the 4x4. This is clearly not a 4x4 vehicle. But you can see smoke coming from the bonnet of that car and people being pushed back from the gates here outside the Houses of Parliament. Other images that are coming into us now are footage of the Prime Minister. We believe this is the Prime Minister's vehicle. Let's just give you these pictures. Here we go. Leaving the Houses of Parliament earlier. She was inside the House of Commons as this happened. We don't know exactly where the Prime Minister is, but we do know that she was removed safely from the building. Lewis Goodall, our correspondent, is in Portcullis House. Let's just bring you the latest we are getting, Lewis. One woman has died and a number of others have been hurt, including some with catastrophic injuries on Westminster Bridge. This is according to a junior doctor at St Thomas's Hospital. So this is coming now from a medic at St Thomas's Hospital, confirming one woman dead, a number of others have been hurt with catastrophic injuries in the incident on Westminster Bridge.
Well, this is now, as we already knew, if it is terror-related, it's an attack which is resulting in a number of injuries and now a fatality, according to a junior doctor who's been quoted. So not an official response at this stage. Lewis Goodall, our political correspondent in Westminster, can join us now. Lewis, what do you know?
Well, as you can see, we're just outside Parliament on the Portcullis House side. There are helicopters everywhere. We know the Prime Minister was sent back to in a car as an emergency or away from Parliament shortly after the incident took place. As far as we're aware, members of Parliament are still locked down inside the chamber, not least because of the news that you were just reporting there about the possibility of a suspicious package in a vehicle. On the bridge just behind me, about an hour or so ago, we had a car which mowed down, we believe, around 5 people before the attacker went straight attempted to get into Parliament wielding a knife, and that's when he was shot. 2 people were then, a policeman was injured in that attack, and 2 people received medical attention, believed to be the attacker and the policeman. All
right, this is a fluent situation, so numbers are fluctuating. The Associated Press is saying 10, Sky News said 10 now. This reporter says 5, so I'm sure these numbers will change. Hopefully it's a lot less than 10, 5's less, and that's good if it's just 5. I mean, that's but now another officer that happened to have been injured. Luckily, nobody, members of Parliament were hurt. Prime Minister is safe, as you heard. But a fluent situation, a suspicious package right now on the bridge, so they're really being cautious, and rightly so. New York City right now is on high alert. The mayor has put the city on high alert, and it's our largest city in the United States. I would think it would be smart for all cities to kind of be on extra alert, but New York City primarily on extra alert, and just because of the ramifications that happened in New York City today. All right. You've been watching or hearing, maybe you watch C-SPAN or some of the major networks, and Neil Gorsuch, of course, going through these confirmation hearings and such. And, Donald Trump, is Donald Trump. I believe in a lot of things that he has said. Now, I was talking to a friend earlier today, and I said, look, I'm a moderate conservative, okay, with some common sense. I don't think that Donald Trump is a complete loon. I believe that he has brought some key issues to the forefront, or he would have never garnished the Electoral College vote unless people believed in him, and obviously they did. He's in the position. And so if you have an open mind, just please do listen. Corruption is rampant in politics and has been, greed and all of these things for a long time. I don't know what the disconnect is where people want to do well. They go into Washington and lobbyists, special interest, big pharma, big companies. It seems like it just corrupts a lot of folks. And in doing so, it trickles down to us where we do not get the benefits of it. We're not the proud recipients of it. And everything goes haywire. But the disconnect, and I've said this for years, the disconnect between Washington and Main Street, it's ridiculous. You can't even recognize one from the other these days. But Donald Trump shoots from the hip. Donald Trump says things that a lot of us wish we could say. Maybe not everything that he says you would agree on, or maybe not everything that you said, I would never say those things, but seriously, not to be a prude. But there are some things you would just love to say and let it just let it fly. And you might know somebody like that.